Beneath the noise of everyday life lies a wild and beautiful reality. Magical realms where the creatures who inhabit them are more than just fairy stories to delight children. They are archetypes to live into, teachers of infinite worth and lifelong friends and companions. Our next guest will share with us the secrets of a magical life. Hi, and welcome to the You World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, transformational coaches and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to help coaches and entrepreneurs amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible, leveraging podcasts and the huge audience we have over on the Gnostic TV network. Today, we are chatting with Alicia Levino, adventurer, modern mystic, and author of the book the Heretic. Welcome to the show, Alicia. It's so exciting to have you here with us.
Yay! Thank you so much for inviting me, Jill.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation, as I've told you many times, because I'm all about the magic. And I need to ask you the big question first. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What's the most significant thing, in your opinion, as individuals we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
Mm. So the simple, dead simple answer is be you, because you have a magic that no one else can bring. Like you fit perfectly into the intricate puzzle of everything, and we desperately need you and your gifts. And the slightly longer answer is what that looks like is being present in this moment in your body, which means doing whatever healing work you need to move through the trauma so that you can be here. It means being courageous and letting yourself say what there is for you to say, take action where there is for you to take action, and getting whatever support you need to show up as you in this world.
Yes. We need people to just be themselves. Turn your light switch on and let it shine. And the heck
Uh,
with anybody else who is there to like throw a basket on it. 'Cause-
Well, the ancient Celts talked about that we all live in this great interconnected pattern, and lots of cultures have a way of describing this. And the idea is that when we are actually living our truth, living our authentic lives, being ourselves, that we fit perfectly and that interweaves with everything else. The trouble we have now is that our society is built around not doing that. And so we have a lot of things that don't fit and are all tangled up. But as each of us starts to just like play the note, you picture a spider web, like each strand has its own vibration for that spider. Like as we each learn to be the unique note that we are in the chorus of creation, it starts to actually sound harmonious.
Yes. And and all the crazy is great. Crazy is excitement. Crazy is uniqueness. It's allowing people to just explore what they're here to explore and share what they're here to share. Because you never know. I mean, yeah. I talk to unicorns, okay?
I'm with you. I mean, the funny thing is, I come from a background of psychology, and inside of psychology, what we can show is that we actually don't know if any of this exists or if it's being created in my mind. Like, I don't know that for sure. I know that I'm having an experience of it. And so, from there, at a pretty young age, from my early university days, I came to understand that my experience is what matters. Your experience is what matters. It's for me, I talk a lot about magic, but it's not about belief. It's about what I experience and choosing to live a life that brings me joy. And for me, I can't know if it's real and true. Certainly, science can't prove it. But at the same time, science can't prove definitively to me that you exist, Jill. You might be just being created in
This could
in
all
my
be a
mind,
dream. This
right?
honestly could all be a dream and not exist at all.
And that's the real science of it. Like that's the real science of it. From my subjective perspective, I can't know that. And so if we want to expand that to something else like conversations with unicorns that bring an experiential depth and a joy into your life, into my life, like for me, that is deeply okay. We all get to choose what reality we live in. Well, it's, let's say, not harming others and all of these good these good work together ethics that come along with it. But for me, magic isn't about believing. I call it the physics of the invisible world. And so what we see is that there are certain ways that things do work repeatedly over time, and that they are difficult to measure with the tools of modern science. But that actually you can learn them and you can get good at them. And they include all kinds of things that help you to really be your authentic self in the world, and hilariously not even be considered that weird. I write about magic, talk about magic. People ask me what I do, and I'm like, oh, I train people to wield their own magic. And consistently, people say, oh, that's awesome. They don't say, oh, you weirdo.
Yeah, because they want it. Everybody wants that. Secretly, we're all just little kids and we want to pretend again. And we've been trained for so long that you must not pretend, you must not have an imagination, you must not talk to imaginary people, you must not do this and you must not do that. And God forbid you daydream for 5 minutes in a day. I mean, all the things that you really need to be doing to know who you are and to be able to work your magic in the world because you're here to do something special. We all are.
It's tricky too, because from a societal perspective,
Mhm.
there have been a lot of mechanisms in place for generations to keep people from discovering who they are uniquely, because it might be harder to get people to work in a cubicle. It will be harder to get people to toe the line in certain ways. When we're fully awake and pursuing our own path, we will come up with amazing solutions for the problems that this world has. We will come up with ingenious solutions and ways to work together that we haven't even dreamed of yet. And some of the things that people are doing that are eating their souls are going to have to be mechanized. We have the technology to do that. And so it's all there. All the building blocks are there, but we fundamentally still live in the society that has for thousands of years worked to keep people from waking up, to keep people from realizing, what that magic is inside of us. And that peer pressure, I'm gonna call it that, is still there, right? No, don't
It's
don't do
fear.
that.
It's fear, and it's a calculated thing that is put on people to enslave them because you can't enslave people who believe they are magic. They
Yeah, you
they
really can't.
embody magic. You can't enslave those kinds of
Yeah.
people because they're just like, oh, plot twist, and they're squirreling off on the side.
And the truth is, even if you manage to capture their bodies, you can't, you fundamentally can't capture the heart and soul of someone who is free on the inside. You just can't.
You can't. The only prisons that really exist are the ones between your ears. It's a choice that we make.
Now, that said, there are amazing things that can happen to human beings that require support and healing
Mhm.
and things in order to really be able to be present with the beings that we are. So I think it's important to acknowledge when we're talking about terrible things that might happen on the outside, that without tools, without support, without knowing how to come back to that magical self, we don't always have the natural resilience to stay in that place because we weren't taught. Our culture doesn't train us to be magical, free thinking, expansive beings connected with the universe. It's just that's not that's not
No,
what
they
they're
don't.
trying to do.
They want us to be they want us to
Useful.
conform so that we can be enslaved. And everything that happens to us in this society is a tool towards enslavement. And beings that are just like, well, there are ways around that. Don't have to be really loud about it, but there's ways around that. And just you just choose to live your life differently.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to live without. There are a lot of ways to live even within the system without being a cog in the system. You don't have to
Hmm.
jam it up. You
Yep.
don't have to, you just,
And then
yeah,
if
just
enough
do
people
something different.
figure that out, and that therein lies the magic. If enough of us figure that out and just start moving in a direction that's um more in alignment with who we were designed to be, then the shift will happen.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to be a revolution, and people don't have to shoot each other, and we don't have to have one side has to be right and the other side is wrong. We can just be. And if each of us could just be, then the shift will happen, and life will be better for everyone, even those that are still caught in that good bad paradigm that they
Yeah.
have to be right, wrong.
And I
Tell me,
think that's what's really happening right now, Jill.
I do
Go
too.
ahead.
I can feel it. It's just like the last 5 years have been a huge monumental shift for humanity as a whole. And it's not like one country or another, it's all the countries. I talk to people all
Mhm.
over the world, and they're all feeling this. It's like
The
they're,
evolution of humanity.
yeah, we're witnessing it on a global scale.
Yeah.
It is magic. It's
It's
magical.
exciting. Yeah, I'm really excited about where we're at as a species.
So tell me about your book, The Heretic.
Yay. So this is actually very much in line with what we've been talking about. The backstory of it is my mentor was the man who actually found the codes in the churches of the south of France that inspired the Da Vinci Code. So he found these real codes. He got led on this mystery adventure himself. But and then he wrote the nonfiction books. But when it became fictionalized, it became very sensationalized and it really missed the mark. Like it just didn't, it no longer led to what he had discovered. And so I met him. I was leading tours in the south of France, and he was looking for somebody. He was 83 years old and wanted somebody to carry on the work, carry on his legacy, and write the book that he thought was needed. And the tricky part about it is that it was deeply spiritual. And the reason it was deeply spiritual is maybe not that it's inherently spiritual information because it's based in math and science. Like what he found was a secret that our ancestors had worked really, really hard to preserve. And it was about the math and science of how the world works. So,
Mhm.
very, very cool, interesting, fact based stuff. But what it must have meant to them, because of the lengths our ancestors went to preserve it, it it must have been spiritual. It must have been something so much more generation after generation. This is the same type of thing of what it must have taken to build Stonehenge. Like, why would you build Stonehenge? It's so much work, right? Like, it must be more than
I
just a
don't
clock.
know. This the guy in the Coral Castles, the little tiny human being. He didn't have much of an education. He was moving ton-pound rocks
Mhm. So the
around.
technology was there, and there's no problem with that. But like just an example of Stonehenge, like the bluestone that was brought in for 200 miles away, like why did they do that? Why didn't they just
Mhm.
use local rock? So there's all these things that we're seeing the old ones doing that you're like, why? It was so much harder than doing something different or not doing that. And when you start to tug on that thread, um, what happened for me is that I fell down a rabbit hole of magical experiences. Now, nothing to believe, but going to certain places and doing certain things and following the clues led me on this really magical journey. And so that's fundamentally what the book is about is it's the magical journey following these clues and along the way really get to experience the spiritual journey, like the transformation for yourself. It's written in a style that we call visionary fiction. And so it essentially is designed to invoke a spiritual adventure in the reader if they choose. Now you can read it just like a great a novel, a thriller, whatever. But if you choose to open up to it, it teaches you techniques for touching in with your own magic. It connects with the mysteries of the divine feminine in the south of France. It really shows some of the codes that are in the churches. So it's got all of the facts, but it's also got a lot of this beautiful, divine mystery.
Oh, that sounds so fascinating. Definitely gonna read it.
It's fun. I'm about to embark on a 6-week journey through the south of France,
Mhm.
researching the sequel. So I leave in just a few days, and I'm really excited because it's this kind of thing where I have some information and I'm going to go follow some clues, and I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. But I have very little doubt that it will be an initiatory journey of some kind.
Wow. So I know you write over on Substack. So will you
I
be
do.
documenting like your journey and can we like follow along with you?
That would be amazing. Unfortunately, I am actually going to funnel it all into the sequel. So one of the things I've noticed through the years is that when I talk about things, when I write about
Hmm.
them in sideways ways, it tends to kind of dilute them. And so I'm actually going to go into this bubble for the next 6 weeks. I've got amazing guest writers showing up on my Substack, and I'm gonna channel all of my writing efforts into the next book is called The Martyr. So I'm gonna be channeling everything into The Martyr. And then when I come back out, where I'm really going to share what's happened, I hope is in the live events that we have on Substack. So I have an amazing community. Hi, heretics. We have the Inner Sanctum of Heretics over on it's Mystery Magic and Mayhem. So you can just literally go to www.mysterymagicmayhem.com to find the Substack. And we do trainings like throughout the month. We have 4 different live events that are designed to help you train your magic. And that's, I think, where a lot of the real time, yeah, energy and experience and stories of France is going to come through. And what I'm hoping to do, I shouldn't even say this here because I don't know if it's going to come through, but I do a beautiful, um, kind of like a guided meditation. It's a transmission that comes kind of through me to help people align their energy and learn how to manage energy in a human body, which is really super tricky. We're not taught how to do it. And what I'm hoping to do is put up on the Substack energy magic transitions from the different magical places and power sites in the south of France. So that's my dream. I'm hoping that it aligns to come through. But that's how I'm hoping to help people connect with my journey. But instead of me telling them what's happening to me, actually invite them to go on their own journey.
I love this. I love this so much. It's not what I expected at all, but it just like so fascinating. I remember reading Dan Brown's books 20 some years ago
Mhm.
when I was pregnant with my youngest child. They had just come out and I'm a binge reader. I admit it. I can't just sit down and read a chapter or two. I have to clear off a day or two and I just like I waddle into the beginning and march my way all the way through the book.
I love that. This is definitely one that goes one of two ways. So I've had people sit down and read it in a
Mhm.
weekend, and it's a literary style. Writing is really important to me. So the caliber of the writing is not, it's a little bit different from Dan Brown, let's say that.
Okay.
Um, But one of the things that happens with the heretic in particular is for those who choose to go on a spiritual journey, you'll pick it up and you'll get really into it and you'll read the first 7, 10 chapters, and then you'll put it down and things will be mulching and moving inside you. And you'll want to pick it up and you'll be looking at it there on the nightstand. And for some reason, 10 days will go past And then all of a sudden you'll pick it up and read through a whole nother section. And I can almost tell you the page number that you'll set it down on every time because there are these energy upgrades that come through at different points in the book. And so, they get to here and then, okay, let's set it down, integrate that, and then go to the next one. Okay, sit it down and integrate it, and then pick it up again.
Oh, that's fun. That's really fun.
It's a different kind
It's,
of read sometimes in that way.
it sounds like an interactive book. And having your community on Substack just makes it all that much more yummy because it's like you can read it and you can be part of this community and help talk to other people. Sometimes just the exercise of having a conversation with somebody who's having a different experience. You're you're doing the same thing as in reading your book, but we're having different experiences because of the same input. And it's often interesting to see how that shares out and into the
It is.
universe. It's
And
like,
it can really deepen the experience as well. Like most of the people, a lot of the people on my Substack either found me because they were fans of the Heretic, or they
mm,
come in and learn about the Heretic later and read it. And it's nice because there's a background there. When you're reading it, you're involved with other people who have either been on that journey or there's references to it. But the
mm,
other thing that we do as part of the Substack is we have what we call the Heretic Reading Circle, but it's a magical book club. So every month we read a different magical book and then we get together and talk about it. And it's amazing to see how just talking about your experience of something makes a difference for others and how listening to what showed up for them, because that cross pollination inside of magical conversations is so powerful. And it also gives you a place to talk about these amazing, deep ideas in a safe space where everyone is totally magical and awesome, and you can actually have, it's normalized. There's camaraderie around it. One of the things we do is heretic happy hour, right? So just really sitting around and talking about different magical ideas in a way that's like, yeah, that this is my experience of that, and it's totally normal, right? Like, oh yeah, you too. And then that builds into places that even I've never been. Like, I might be facilitating these groups, but the conversations also, when we get magical people together, they become so much bigger than any one of us. They become something that I think we could never guess at without that alchemy.
I love that. I love that. And just the energy. Your energy shifts when you're around people like that who
Hmm.
are thinking and they're curious people. Magical people are curious people. They're they're really scientists and
I think
in
so.
their own way. I look at magic as just science. It hasn't been explained yet, but
Hmm.
this is my opinion. I, it Things do happen in the world that we can't explain. It doesn't make it that they didn't happen. It just means we can't explain it. It did happen. Like, they did build Stonehenge. We don't
Hmm.
know how they did it, maybe, or
When
the beautiful buildings that used to exist in different countries that were so ornate. That just like it blows me away that we've gone from these magnificent pieces of artwork to like metal buildings with cement floors.
well,
That's
and
not evolution.
it's funny to think that there's actually so much of our everyday experience that we don't have a full explanation for. And so we just kind of tamp it down. There are so many people who can walk into a room and understand and know what other people are feeling. That's a really normal phenomenon. There are people who, I, all of us get intuitions about different things. There are more neurons in your gut than there are in your brain. Like, there are all these pieces. And it's so simple. Like science can totally explain this. The system is so complex that it's impossible to explain all of. Like that's such a simple and real and true explanation. And then inside of that, what can we observe over time? And there are so many things that were passed down to us from cultures long before us that they, generation after generation, figured quite a lot out. And those things have been passed down to us, but there's also a lot that we can glean and recover from using our intuitive senses. And these are really powerful ways of knowing, for those who are on the Gnostic side of it, like it's this kind of internal knowing, like Gnosticism of really gaining knowledge through a personal experience. Um, but there are fundamental laws of how magic works, and it at the same time is very individual. So, how it works for each person subjectively has these flavors and nuances in the same way that no two apples taste the same, but they're still apples.
Yeah. And it just goes back to being beings and letting our light shine
Hmm.
and being able to experience life fully.
Hmm. And for me, the way that I see it is there are a lot of things that we can learn to support ourselves in that. Everything from how to manage the energy of the body, breathing in simple ways that move things through, to communicating with the vast other world and healing past things. There's so many things to that. And fundamentally, that's what I do in a million ways, whether it's through books, through the Substack community, or in personal coaching. It's just helping people to learn not just techniques, but learn to connect in a way that what works for them can really come through them.
Yeah. And in that way, they can experience their own magic and share it with others.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my big why. That's what I'm like. Fundamentally, human beings being a magical species that are connected with the whole world around us, remembering our place in the pattern so that we are naturally stewards and custodians of the planet because we feel our deep interconnection. And and we have reclaimed that birthright of magic. So that's the world I'm working for toward, and it's exciting every day when I connect with people who are really living into that and becoming the next evolution of humans.
We were talking about that before we started, and it really I can feel the shift happening. And the more of us that are embracing this, the more the planet, and it really is everyone, even it, you don't even have to be a sentient being to appreciate the shift. Like the trees and the animals, they all have they're all going to benefit as humanity moves into this shift into accepting the magical beings that they are and allowing allowing themselves to be who they fundamentally are and not trying to conform to get their grades or get their little gold stars or to be the best at everything because that's what we're trained to be. You get grades so that you can be the best at everything.
Mm.
You have
Well,
to
and I
be
think
really good at
underneath
English and
that,
math and all of these different
yeah.
things. And why?
Well, I think underneath that there's a really profound longing for belonging, for love to really be deeply okay. And the joke is that, we know that that path of success in doing everything right doesn't lead to that feeling of belonging, even though we may fit in, and it doesn't lead to being deeply loved, even though we may be admired. The reality is that when we actually are able to sink into ourselves, let go of that, and connect with a wider world
Mhm.
that I think personally, just from my experience, is deeply sentient, whether it's trees or animals or the earth herself, whatever that is, um, we actually experience the belonging that we are looking for. We experience the love and the appreciation and the recognition and the feeling of being seen. And as we sink more deeply into that, we begin to connect with humans who can actually see us and be with us as we are. So there's this, the more that we're striving towards what we think we will achieve or we will receive by doing it the way we were told, the further we get away from what we're really looking for. And when we give all of that up, it's right there the whole time. We do belong. You do belong here. You are a creature of earth, this life at least.
Yeah. And I talk to trees too.
Yeah,
And
yes.
they respond. I've
And
had
they talk back, right? That's the
they do
joke. It's
talk
like, wait a
back.
minute. And sometimes they're way smarter than we are.
I've had so many experiences with trees and with nature. I had one experience. My most recent one was this tree that I transplanted. It's a good sized tree. It was maybe a couple of years old, and we moved it from my son's house, which used to be my house, to my current house, and planted it. And I just like I asked it to please live, and it wasn't doing so well for the longest time. And then I was going out, and I put my hands on it. I was just like, I really don't want to pull you out. And then there were these little tiny buds all over it.
Oh.
It's like it makes me tear up. It's just like so it was so special. I've had other trees that were like blighted with some disease heal heal
Hmm.
themselves just because I asked them to. I mean, it's a
It's
huge pear tree and it still exists today because
It's amazing what happens when we actually tap in, when we contribute to the great conversation that's happening all
Mhm.
around us. Oh, I
It
love that.
does make me tear up. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize
It
for that.
just like
That's beautiful.
it just makes me so happy. I love trees so much. I have a relatively not large yard. It's not small, but I have over 100 trees on it. I planted personally about 40 or 50 of them. The rest are volunteers. They just come, and I'm going to have a forest
Hmm.
soon. And when I first moved here 5 years ago, there was one tree in my backyard.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, they're coming to visit me. And they're growing. And I love it. I even have a lemon tree that sits in my office. It's right. You can't see it, but the leaf just dropped down. But I grew from a seed.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So it's just great things happen. And
Hmm.
trees are sentient. And there's magic everywhere.
There is. I like to talk about it like a conversation. There's a conversation that's happening around us. And when we stop to listen and when we take the time to participate and when we dare, because sometimes we feel like, oh, do I actually have the capacity to do? Yes, absolutely. Everyone has the capacity and the intuition to participate in the conversation. It's just the mind saying like, whatever it's saying, and that's not helpful. You can actually just let the mind in on the conversation and say, well, thank you, mind. That's a really interesting perspective. Hold on just a second. We're going to listen to what this bush has to say and just listen.
Yeah, because you do get downloads. We all get downloads. We all just know things. And it's not, it's your intuition and it's the God piece that's in you that is guiding you. We all have it. It's not like one person is special. It's just that some people are more tuned in than others.
Well, and some people have more practice, and some people have gifts that we're more familiar with. So, people who have
Mhm.
psychic seeing where they physically see something, we're more
Mhm.
familiar with that. Whereas if you are tuned into people's emotions, you're actually going to be able to tune into the health of a landscape. But
Mhm.
we're not trained to translate that skill, right? So there are so many gifts, and this is what I do that I get really excited about because everyone has different gifts, and if you have sort of a mainstream I don't mean mainstream, but I mean a gift that we're more familiar with,
Mhm.
clairvoyance. There are a lot of ways to train in clairvoyance. But if your gift is fundamentally like working with time, seeing the whole scope of time and the way that it interacts and finding timelines and ways to move within that, nobody's training that. Like, how do you even learn that you have that gift? Um, there are a lot of different schools of healing, but there are people who are healing landscapes. There are people who are healing individual like places. There are people who are healing other humans. There are people who are working with all different levels of ways of healing. And so what fundamentally what I do is my gift is working with the other side, working with my team, the divine, your team, and messages come through me. And it's not quite like channeling. I call myself a divine translator because what comes through is practices and information to help people train their gifts. So I don't need to know how it works. I get told how it works. And then I have a pretty extensive basic education in magic, which I've been working in and playing in for the past 25 years and more. Um, that allows me to really work with people on an individual basis. Sometimes in the groups we do a lot of trainings, but really in one-on-one coaching through magical mentorship, um, helping people to just to level up, like the people, and for the most part, I work with people who are wanting to make a difference in the world. So whether you have, you have magical powers and you want to train them because you're starting a business, whether you are stepping more and more into sharing those gifts with the world, like it's especially the people who have woken up in the past, 6 months to 10 years, who haven't spent a lifetime training, but who kind of want to fast track that to get to where you're just able to train yourself in a real way. So anyway, I get really excited about that, Jill.
I love it, Alicia. I love it. And so you're offering your standard offer is just that, and I say just, it's an amazing offer. The first three chapters of your novel to help people connect with their own magic. And people can find that over at alicialavino.com, the Heretic sneak preview. And there's little hyphens between each of those words after the slash, and we'll put that in the show notes. But how can people you you made a beautiful offer that you tried to explain to me before we got started, but I didn't write it down. So I'm going to let you explain what that is going to be for people who are finding you through this podcast.
That's great, Jill. Yeah. So if anyone who is interested in the book, I always do the first three chapters so that you can decide if it's right for you, because we all know how books go. You're either going to like it or you're not. So you can try it out to see if you do like it. But for this show, I wanted to offer all of Jill's listeners a free month in our community of heretics over at mysterymagicmayhem.com. So the best way to do that is actually just to reach out to me. Um, you can get me through my website, alicialavino.com. You can find me over on Substack, Alicia Lavino. And you can just email me directly. It's literally one at alicialavino.com. And just let me know that you found me through the Coach's Alchemist, and I will handle the rest and get you all set up with a free month in our magical community. So that's um, 4 different events throughout the month to help you train your magic, and an amazing community of seekers who is just absolutely waiting to cheer you on and find out what you're up to in the world and support you in that. So
It sounds like a great community.
it's so good. It's the kind of thing where if I found it online and it hadn't been a part of making it, I would be so excited to be part of it and to get to go to all of the events and like get to really meet and know these folks has been honestly, it's really incredible. It's an honor and a blast.
That's so amazing. And people can find you at the mysterymagicmayhem.com, and that's her Substack. And you can subscribe over there, and paid subscribers get to be part of her community, as well as free subscribers get her
Free
content that
subscribe
she puts up there.
Yeah. Free subscribers get all my writing. I never paywall my writing. So free subscribers get all the things I write about, which is my adventures, my research, insights, techniques on how to train your magic. The whole conversation is really how to train your magic, as well as you get to kind of watch me bumping my way down the trail, right? Because I'm human too. So as I learn something, you're getting the real time kind of what's going on here, and you get to watch kind of my process and figuring it out and how I turn to my guides and how I resource myself to continue on that journey, which I think is really helpful for people to learn and see how to do that themselves. I'm a writer. I try and make it as entertaining as possible along the way. Writing is where my passion really lies. So
Perfect. And then the alicialavino.com website is where people can find out about your coaching and Substack, your book.
yeah, so and that's where you would learn more about the energy magic that I do, learning to really how your energy body works. We're trained to take care of our health, but we're not trained to manage our energy body. You can learn just about different aspects. I lead tours in France. There are a lot of little pieces, and there's a bit of a rabbit hole that you can fall down in terms of information about the heretic and the adventures I've been on there. So, yeah, lots of different pieces. The main thing, two websites, alicialavino.com, mysterymagicmayhem.com. After that, if you're into it, there's a lot of stuff to explore.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today, Alicia. This has been a magical conversation.
Yay, thank you, Jill. This has been great.
To learn more about Alicia and to find the first three chapters of The Heretic for free, please visit the mysterymagicmayhem.com and consider subscribing to her publication over on Substack. And we'll be sure to put all these links in the show notes below. Thank you for tuning in with us today. If you have a podcast or you're interested in starting one to get your message in front of our huge and active audience, be sure to reach out to us at jill@gnostictv.com. We love to help spiritual entrepreneurs and coaches amplify their voice and monetize their mission and offer a variety of ways to do this on the Gnostic TV Network platform. Join us for our next episode as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.